It is time to turn our attentions to Southern California, where it was the epicenter of the Major League Baseball world. Sorry, Red Sox, Yankees fans. Sorry. Southern California has taken over. Ken Rosenthal himself said it last night on his podcast, whatever YouTube weekly wrap-up thing he was doing.
Oh, he was. Okay.
He's like, sorry, guys, Dodgers, Padres is better. And it is.
We've been saying this since the beginning of the season.
Definitely. Red Sox Yankees fell a little flat this weekend, and it didn't have that intensity. Mm-hmm. At least it left Yankees fans probably desiring a lot more than they got.
They're not as close in standings as Padres and Dodgers.
No. They are kind of right now.
Okay.
They are separated by a half a game only.
Oh.
The Yankees and the Red Sox. The problem is both of them have been taken over by the Blue Jays, and it just doesn't feel like the rivalry had a lot of on-field animosity. I think the fact that the Dodgers and Padres had that bench clearing incident earlier this year, it's hard to live up to that. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen a lot of on-field animosity between these two teams over the past couple weekends. But from a Padres standpoint, at least this weekend, we saw a lot of good, clean baseball and a playoff atmosphere at Petco Park. And I think that has to be the prize for the Padres coming down the stretch here. And it was great to see them respond after getting swept last weekend in LA and win 2 out of these 3 games. We said beforehand that if they didn't win this series, that it's basically over. Not just for the division, but also for the psychological battle that we can beat this team when the postseason rolls around. Yes. Because this was the first series against the Dodgers that they won all year and 4 times playing them. Mm-hmm. So as it stands, we came in a game behind. We win 2 of 3, and therefore we are now tied. And it is important to note when you have 31 games remaining that the Dodgers do hold that tiebreaker. Mm-hmm. So the Padres will have to finish ahead of the Dodgers if they want to win the NL West. And that's what we're here to talk about in this segment today. We want to analyze and look at everything on paper and see if the Padres have what it takes to win the NL West, because I think they have to win the NL West if they want to win the World Series this year.
So
they have to.
Do you think they have to?
I think they have to. And we're going to get into why some of that is.
Okay.
But one of the biggest reasons is you want to avoid a trip to Wrigley Field in the first round of the playoffs. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's keep it on point here. Nika, I want to talk about Mike Shildt for a second.
Oh, okay.
Mike Shildt is under the microscope if you have been looking at Padres Twitter or social media at all. Probably 90 to 95% of the commentary right now is basically questioning the man driving this ship, Mike Shildt, the Padres skipper. And, I'm not going to lie. He leaves me scratching my head sometimes like, Mike, what are we doing here, man? Mm-hmm. What are we doing here? But I wanted to take a couple minutes here and do a quick defense of Mike Shildt if I can. I enjoy Mike Shildt's philosophy towards baseball, and I know there's a lot of people out there that already are probably clicking off or something. So stay with me, though, for 1 second, please. Stay with me.
Bring it.
I didn't love seeing Estrada in yesterday, okay? I didn't. Mm-hmm. And yet, to say that Mike Shildt was being a jerk after the game and being too defensive, he was not. You're not being biased. You're hearing what you want to hear. The reporter, Kevin Acee, asked him about using Estrada against the Dodgers, and he hasn't performed particularly well. This reminds me of Ricky Vaughn in the movie Major League, Charlie Sheen's character. He's getting shelled game after game after game against the Yankees. And then, they get to this pivotal game against the Yankees late in the season, and the manager goes out there and he's like, I want Vaughn. and Tom Berenger's character, the catcher, he's like, you want Vaughn? And he's like, I know he hasn't done very well against these guys, but I got a feeling about this one. And
Yes.
I feel like that's who Mike Shildt is. That's who he is as a manager, and people need to just kind of accept that a little bit. And I know that movie's from the 80s. I know that it feels like the movie has probably passed by what we know about modern statistics and stuff, but I also feel like you don't want Bob Melvin there either, who just manages the game by his books and lets that make the decisions for him. I would rather have somebody in control of the car instead of somebody defaulting to the autopilot.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Totally.
And so
Yeah.
I think we got to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt here. Imagine if Estrada goes in yesterday and gets the job done.
Well, then Mike Schilt is out of the woods.
Well, not just that, but Jeremiah Estrada finally has a clean outing against the Dodgers.
True.
So,
and that was actually a game because it was the last game.
he's trying to enable these men to achieve what they need to do in order to attain the ultimate prize.
And again,
You're
it was
going
the
to need
last
Jeremiah
game.
Estrada to pitch against the Dodgers in a playoff series. I'm sorry. He's
Right.
part of your bullpen, and now he's going to have PTSD probably going into the series.
I know,
But I'm just saying I understand the point of why he used him yesterday. It was to try and instill confidence in this man. And so maybe it backfired yesterday, but he's not going to stop trying,
Right. And
so-
that was a game that they could potentially lose. They already won the series.
Yeah, that's just who Mike Schilt is. Also, I want to say the Padres are playing in Seattle tonight. And this is now going to be the final 3 of 13 days in a row of games.
Well
and
scheduled.
so he has a pretty fresh bullpen going into this game. We have Suarez, we have Mason Miller. Morejon got that 4-out save on Saturday night against the Dodgers. Even though it was a 4-run win, Morejon actually got a save because the game was closer when he came in.
Okay.
It was only 2-run lead. Bogarts hit that 2-run double in the bottom of the 8th, which was huge, huge, huge. And Morejon was able to lock it down in the 9th. So he gets the 4-out save. Good stuff good stuff there. So yeah, the bullpen though, we might need the bullpen in Seattle. They don't score a lot of runs right now either, minus yesterday, and we don't score a lot of runs. This could be a pitching matchup.
It could.
And so we will most likely need these guys to be able to be ready the next 3 days.
100%.
And we need to beat the damn Mariners,
Yes.
man. They swept us at our place earlier. The Vetter Cup is on the line. I know it doesn't mean shit because Eddie Vedder's a Cubs fan, but damn it, we're playing for pride here. We need that. We need to tie so that we can have joint possession of the Vetter Cup. So,
right.
I mean, that means we need to sweep the Mariners. That's tough. I don't know if it's
think
going to
you're gonna
happen in
sweep.
Seattle, but really, we need to be thinking about 2 out of 3 here.
Yeah.
And, let's go out and play well tonight and get that dirty taste of the last Dodger game out of our
Who is
mouth.
pitching for the Mariners tonight? Who?
Well, I think it is Bryce Miller
Bryce
on the
Miller.
hill versus JP Sears for the Padres. Let's turn our attentions away from the bullpen and talk about the other hottest subject on Padres social media, which is Luis Ariz, everybody.
Okay.
And look, I don't think Luis Ariz is going to move in the batting order. I just have this sneaking suspicion that the Padres are going to let this ride out, and I think if there was any changes that were going to be made, that they would, have been made. If not by Mike Schilt, then AJ Preller would have intervened if he wanted the lineup a certain way.
Okay. Is it possible for them to try to figure it out before September 1st with Luis Ariz?
There's 6 more days left, yes. And I want to remind Padres fans that there was some cutthroat decisions made on September 1st last year heading down the stretch. Big one was Luis Campusano got kicked out of catching. He had caught a majority of our games. I know Kyle Higashioka had sort of taken over by the All-Star break kind of as the more main time guy. But to make the decision to just completely get rid of Campusano at that point was a big decision, and it marked a change. We picked up Elias Diaz. He's still on the team now as the new backup catcher since we got Freddie Fermin.
So by the September 1st, there will be most likely some change made.
I'm just saying,
Not
don't
Ariz.
rule out the potential for any
Yeah.
changes to come to this team lineup. It has happened before, but assuming Ariz stays in the second spot, I think the compromise for me is that he has to put Fernando in motion more. If Ariz is going to come up with him on first base, I've seen far too many double plays, and the ability, and you're not taking advantage of the fact that Ariz does put bat to barrel a lot, or bat to ball, I should say. He does make contact, and if he is going to hit ground outs to second base, you might as well stay out of the double play more often and just please put Fernando in motion. Even if he doesn't, it's not to get a stolen base. It's just to get hit and runs. You can also get the defense out of position and maybe get Ariz a few cheap hits and get him going and get him red hot down the stretch. Nothing would solve this problem more than Luis Ariz just hitting 350 in the month of September and helping propel the Padres to a division title.
That's a tall order, hitting 350.
I'm just saying it's possible.
It is.
let's just not hit the panic button with Arise and let things happen. O'Hearn is now playing more often, and people were upset about that. That happened kind of naturally. I know Merrill got hurt, but I think O'Hearn is going to stay in the lineup, not Sheets. Sheets is going to be your off the bench power guy.
DH.
Correct. You will have Iglesias as your off the bench contact hitter guy. So
you have options.
And okay, so let's get into the nitty gritty here. The Padres are 19-8 since they lost 4 straight on the road after the All-Star break, including a sweep over the Mets at the end of July, right before the trading deadline, to even put them in a position to make all these awesome trades and enhance their team to the place where it is now. The Dodgers, meanwhile, are 13-14 in that same stretch of games. So the Padres, over the last 27 games, have closed 6 games on the Dodgers. And if that pace plays out over the final 31 games, the Padres are going to cruise to a division title. I know the Dodgers have some players coming back, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but stay with me here. You know, who has better second half numbers career-wise, Mike Shildt or Dave Roberts? I don't have Dave Roberts' numbers in front of me, but Mike Shildt is known for being a second half strong manager. His records are great. Combined since he was a head coach for the Cardinals, even if you count the year he took over. Okay. His second half's lifetime, 198 wins, 113 losses. That's a 637 winning percentage, 64% of your games if you round up. That's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. So you have to figure at least some of that's going to play out over the final 31.
I would hope so.
I don't see the Padres just all of a sudden folding for a guy that's now in his 5th year as a full-time manager.
I don't see that.
He has this rapport as a second half manager. I don't know. I didn't throw 2020 in there, by the way, because it was COVID. It was a short season. Doesn't count. Also, Mike Shildt is 41 games over 500 now as manager of the Padres since he took over last year. I think he's owed some damn slack. And just because he keeps making the same decision over, you're not going to change anything if you keep bitching about it every day. My advice for the fans that are upset about Luis Ariz batting second or Estrada getting used yesterday and they don't think they should have used him, you owe a little bit of slack here. Okay. And it's time to move on and just enjoy the run. Just enjoy the run. The Padres are going to play good, solid, fundamental baseball down the stretch like they have all season long. Just because their offense hasn't clicked since the end of April like we saw it does not mean that they haven't been playing fundamentally. They wouldn't be in the position they are without it.
They do have a leg up on the fundamentals when you compare them to the Yankees.
Absolutely.
Or even the Dodgers. They do have the leg up on that. Absolutely. They just have to come together in their power struggle.
You know what else they have, Nika? The Padres have the weakest strength of schedule remaining. They have the 30th ranked most difficult, which is last. Which means it's the easiest. Now, I hate this. I hate the phrasing of this, but you can't ignore the fact that it's true. The Padres have opponents that they should beat, and they have been really good about that this year.
That's great, and I hope to see it.
So they need to continue that. Yeah, that's the point. They just need to play their brand of baseball down the stretch. We mentioned the Cubs at the beginning of this segment because I feel like whoever doesn't win the NL West is going to be maybe making a trip to Wrigley Field.
In the wild card.
In the wild card round, and you don't want that.
It might be the Padres, the Dodgers.
It might be the Padres or it might be the Dodgers, but I don't know. So I don't like whoever's chances going into Wrigley with weird October winds. It might benefit the Dodgers with the way they slug, but the Cubs slug too, and the Cubs are not intimidated by the Dodgers. No. They've beaten their ass this year, actually.
So hopefully,
minus that Tokyo series at the beginning of the year, which was fixed against them.
Yeah.
Anyways,
about fixing stuff.
So and the Cubs, by the way, have the second weakest strength of schedule remaining. So that's why I'm saying the odds of the Padres catching the Cubs is like, it's going to be tough because they both technically have a lot of games that they should win. Both headed towards 90-win seasons, most likely. The Dodgers also, by the way, have the 26th
so they on the bottom as well.
Strength of schedule remaining. And, you know, the teams that they do play, though, I wrote this down. They have Philadelphia, Seattle, like we have, Cincinnati starting tonight. That's a big series for the Dodgers because that's at home. They have to face Hunter Green. Stay tuned for how that one starts off because that's going to set the tone for how they play against the Reds. And the Reds are hungry right now. The Reds are a game and a half back in the wild card. Look out.
And they play fun.
Yes.
They have fun on the field.
Yes. And then they also have to play in Pittsburgh. That's coming up soon. And the reason why I wrote that is because Paul Skeens is always a possibility to it. And if you just have to face him, you never know.
Yeah.
Also, the Pirates called up Bubba Chandler, their number 1 overall prospect, who is a highly rated MLB pitching prospect. And he's probably maybe he will pitch against the Dodgers in one of those. So you now see a pitcher you've never faced before. And we know pitchers have the advantage. And then they have to play San Francisco at Arizona. And, you know, Giants Dodgers is the classic NL West rivalry. I know Padres Dodgers is taking over. You can't convince me otherwise. Sorry, Giants fans, but you need to play better for starters, and then you can come back in the conversation if you want. But in the meantime, it is Padres Dodgers. But I think the Giants do have Logan Webb, and if they're out of it, and they will become a dangerous team.
They still have fans that show up to their games. They still got to put up on a good show.
The Padres went 6-1 against the Giants this month in August, and I challenge the Dodgers to do better. In the 7 games, they have to play them in September. So if you want to win the NL West, Dodgers, you have to beat the Giants 6-1, like we did, I think, in order to keep up.
They also have Arizona, I believe.
They do have Arizona, and that's the other team I wanted to mention because Arizona is slowly but surely just sort of kind of creeping back into the playoff picture. They are snakes. We know how snakes hunt. They lie low and slither their way without anybody really noticing, and then all of a sudden they're there.
Yep.
Like a whip. I hate snakes, Chuck. Indiana Jones. No, just be careful. Be careful.
Yeah.
You know, the Dodgers, as I'm looking here, they have 6 games with Arizona, 7 with San Francisco. Those are going to be interesting games to follow.
And
I'm just going to leave it at that.
A lot of teams play down to their competition.
I know.
We've seen that. We've seen it with the Padres.
But you could say the Padres are playing.
It's the same thing. The same thing applies.
It's tough because we say that the Padres play down to their competition, and yet they also do really well in games that they're quote unquote supposed to win, and which is why they are where they are in the standings. Before we get off this topic of strength of schedule, I just want to mention you brought up Arizona. I brought up the Reds. We haven't really talked about the Mets or the Cardinals, but those are the 4 teams that are kind of fighting right now for that final wild card spot. And Cincinnati's really the only team that's close to the Mets. But like we said, Arizona is slithering, and I never trust the Redbirds personally. I won't do it. Not until they're mathematically eliminated. That's just my Cubs PTSD from my childhood kicking in. Sorry, apologies, everybody. But I just want to point out, you know, those are teams that have a difficult strength of schedule left. So they're going to be fighting it out for that last spot. I think that's why I'm saying with the Cubs having an easy schedule, Padres having an easy schedule, Dodgers having pretty easy schedule, like you want to win the NL West here, Padres. You really do. So now, one of the things Dodger fans are bringing up constantly is that they're not healthy right now. And they're going to start to get healthy in the next 2 weeks. And all of a sudden, they're going to be making a push because they're going to be getting healthy again. Who's coming back? Well, Kiki Hernandez. And can't deny he's like been a clutch player for them. Mm-hmm. He's not like going to light the world on fire statistically, but he always just seems to get those clutch hits, those clutch RBIs. He sniffs them out, you know, and he's just one of those players that he brings value to their team for some reason. Max Muncy. He's having a phenomenal year, but he's also been injured a couple times. So which Max Muncy comes back? I think if he comes back 100% healthy and he can get grooving, it does give the Dodgers a big boost. Hyun Kim, can't deny he might help them out. He's got speed, and he's a contact hitter, something that the Dodgers lack a little bit. Tommy Edman, I wrote him down. He should be coming back again soon. Some of their high-priced talent, at least 5 years, $74 million worth.
Yeah.
So he will help out. That's a lot of names. On the pitching side of things, they also got Roki Sasaki. Maybe not. I don't know where he's going to fall in all of this yet. I don't think it's 100% guaranteed to count on him coming back this year. Okay. I really don't. Michael Kopech, he will come back and be in their bullpen. And he also, I want to say, joins Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott, who also just came back this weekend and haven't really pitched much yet, but their bullpen is now reinforced from where it was a week ago. That's for damn sure. So, yeah, the Dodgers are getting some players back that should strengthen their team. But I also want to point out that the Padres have not been 100% healthy through this. They lost Michael King, who was supposed to start that opening night in Los Angeles when that series got started last weekend. And he is going to be back, it looks like, at the end of August. He's going to probably be doing a rehab start sometime this week. So good news is like, as aggravating, as frustrating as that knee injury was, he's not going to be out too long.
Okay.
Jackson Merrill finally went on the IL 10 days. It looks like he's going to be around the same time period, end of August, early September. So it's not going to be too much longer of a wait. My thing with Jackson Merrill is, can he come back and just hit like he was starting to hit when he got injured again? Because he had started letting the ball travel deeper in the zone. He had started to hit the ball with power to the opposite field again. So, and then last but not least, Nika, let's not forget about Joe Musgrove. And I know the likelihood of his return is very, very questionable, but I do want to say on August 2nd, he threw a 20-pitch bullpen session. So it's not like he's not throwing, and I know in his heart of hearts, he really wants to pitch, even if it's just in the playoffs, And I think the Padres do trust him enough to possibly do it. I'm not saying as a starter, but as a backup long-term reliever out of the bullpen, and who, depending on someone having a bad night, like
Dylan Cease comes to mind.
I don't want to talk about it. Didn't want to name names, Nika. Didn't want to name names, but since you went there, look. In conclusion here, because I've really gone over time, but I really think the Padres have to win this division if they want to get to the World Series. I think that's the big takeaway after this series is, they've put themselves in a position to do it. It's really up to them now to do it. And I just feel like if they don't win the division, that's going to be a tough road through the playoffs to potentially have to go through Chicago and then through either Philadelphia or Milwaukee. And then if the Dodgers finish ahead of you, you risk facing them in the NLCS with them having the 7-game home field advantage. Yep. So
a tough schedule like that.
Yeah, it's really tough. I would much rather them finish third, and by all means, go ahead and finish second.